Operational Hazard Reports, Hazard Reporting, references AR 385-10, DA-PAM 385-90, and AR 95-1. What is an Operational Hazard Report? Operational Hazard Report identifies and documents an aviation hazard before it leads to an accident. An Operational Hazard Report uses DA Form 2696 and complies with provisions of AR 385-10. Operational hazard is defined as any condition, action, or set of circumstances that compromises the safety of Army aircraft, associated personnel, airfields, or equipment. Operational hazards may involve air traffic control, airways and navigational aids, controller procedures and techniques, near mid-air collisions between aircraft or near collisions between aircraft and other objects in the air or on the ground, aircraft operations, aircraft maintenance or inspection, weather services, airfields and heliports, facilities or services, flight or maintenance training and education. OHRs will not be used in determining the misconduct or line of duty status of Army personnel, to report alleged flight violations for punitive action, guidance is in AR 95-1, by evaluation boards in determining pecuniary liability or as evidence for disciplinary action. Correcting an operational hazard. OHR must be investigated and must be acted on promptly to reduce the potential for accidents. Operational hazards should be corrected at the lowest level possible. Submitting an OHR. Anyone may submit an OHR, military or civilian. Anonymity of the originator is acceptable but precludes a response. OHRs will only be used to report those hazards affecting aviation safety. Other hazards will be reported on DA Form 4755. In-flight hazards. An OHR will be prepared and submitted after landing. In the event of an NMAC, an immediate airborne report will be transmitted to the nearest air traffic agency, that is Flight Center, Flight Service Station, or Control Tower. The following information will be provided when reporting an airborne operational hazard or NMAC. Identification or call sign, time and location of the occurrence, altitude or flight level, description of other aircraft, an advisory to the controlling agency that a written report, DA Form 2696, will be filed. OHRs will not need to be submitted when an accident report will be prepared in accordance with DA PAM 385-40, or when a deficiency report will be submitted according to DA PAM 738-751. Routing of an OHR. OHR will be submitted to the appropriate ASO or Army Flight Operations. Flight Operations will forward the OHR to the organization ASO. An OHR pertaining to other organizations will be transferred as soon as possible from the ASO receiving the report to the one having official control. Aviation hazards noted at Air Force or Navy installations should be reported to the Base Operations Office. See DA PAM 385-90 for routing when FAA ATC is involved or cases involving civilian operations. The OHR will be forwarded to Commander, U.S. Army Combat Readiness Center, Fort Rucker, Alabama, when actions pertain to the Department of Army Staff, Army Headquarters or subcommands not in the chain of command, other DoD Armed Services, the U.S. Coast Guard, or a host nation, the FAA or National Transportation Safety Board at the national level, or other subject commanders or ASOs believed to be significant. Responsibilities of the originator are to complete blocks 1 through 10 of DA Form 2696 and provide name and address if a response is desired. Here's the Operation Hazard Report, DA Form 2696. The originator needs to fill out blocks 1 through 10, as previously discussed. So let's look at blocks 1 through 10. Block 1. Who are you sending it to? Block 2. Who is it coming from? The originator. Block 3. When did it happen? Block 4. Where did it happen? Block 5. What does a hazard pertain to? And block 6. Did the hazard occur in flight? Let's look at block 7. What was the weather? Block 8. Where were the clouds? Block 9. Single aircraft or mid-air? Block 10. What happened and how could it be corrected? Responsibilities of the ASO are to complete blocks 11 and 13 of DA Form 2696, and for the commander to complete and sign block 12 of DA Form 2696. So let's look at the blocks 11, 12, and 13 that pertain to the ASO and the commander. Block 11, investigation recommendations from the ASO. Block 13, the point of contact, to be completed by the aviation safety officer. Block 12, what action was taken by the commander to correct the hazard? What helps make the OHR program effective? Ensure OHR form is readily available, and ensure unit personnel are educated on the OHR program. The OHR and Flight Violation Report are two separate systems that may be used simultaneously to enhance safety. Take OHR seriously. Get command involvement. Give prompt replies to originators. Take timely action to correct the problem. Target corrections on system defects rather than simply fixing operating errors. Common problems of an OHR program. Used or perceived to be used for disciplinary actions. Lip service to complaints. OHR war. Lack of emphasis on training or during safety meetings. Hazard reporting. References AR 385-10, DAPAM 385-90, DAPAM 385-10, DAPAM 385-40, 29 CFR 1960.28, and 29 CFR 1960.46. Employee report of alleged unsafe or unhealthful work conditions. Procedures for employee reports of hazard will be established in accordance with DAPAM 385-40, 29 CFR 1960.28, and 29 CFR 1960.46. Reports under these procedures will be completed on a DA Form 4755, Employee Report of Alleged Unsafe or Unhealthful Working Conditions. Here's an example of DA Form 4755. Let's take a closer look at what this document entails. Who is the undersigned? What is the name of the establishment that you work at? Is there imminent danger? Who is in charge? Operation and the exact location of the work site. What kind of operation is being performed? Describe the hazard, to include the appropriate number of employees exposed to or threatened by such hazard. What occupational safety health standards have been violated? Has a hazard already been addressed? What is your desired outcome? And your contact information. If a 4755 has to be initiated and submitted, then you need to make sure whatever hazard gets on the HAZ log, otherwise known as the hazard tracking log. The commanders and staff should maintain a file log of hazards to track, control option implementation, and effectiveness. The file log should be maintained as a permanent reference for future hazard analysis. The file log should contain the following elements. 1. A reference or log number. 2. Description of the hazard, including the source or root cause. 3. Determination of potential impact on the unit mission rack. 4. Recommended control options. 5. Command decisions on control options and implementation directives, including responsible agent and suspense. 6. A plan to verify the effectiveness of controls. 7. Status based on verification of effectiveness. Hazards should be eliminated on a worst first basis. An abatement plan must be prepared for each risk assessment code, 1 or 2 hazard, whose correction will exceed 30 days. Individual deficiencies of an incidental character may be grouped together into a single abatement plan or into an associated abatement project. The plans will be kept current by adding new projects and by placing completed projects in a completed project section of the abatement plan. Corrections of violations that have a high dollar cost can be included in the abatement. The command element involved will approve abatement plans. 29 CFR 1960.28c states, any employee or representative of employees who believes that an unsafe or unhelpful working condition exists in any workplace where such employee is employed shall have the right and is encouraged to make a report of the unsafe or unhelpful working condition to an appropriate agency, safety, and health official, and request an inspection of such workplace for this purpose. The report shall be reduced to writing either by the individual submitting the report or, in the case of an oral notification, by the above official or other person designated to receive reports in the workplace. Any such report shall set forth grounds for the report and shall contain the name of the employee or representative of employees. Upon the request of the individual making such report, no person shall disclose the name of the individual making the report or the names of individual employees referred to in the report to anyone other than authorized representatives of the Secretary. In the case of imminent danger situations, employees shall make reports by the most expeditious means available. Normally, reports will be signed. However, anonymous reports will be investigated in the same manner as other reports. Reports can be submitted directly to the Installation Safety Occupational Health official, to the appropriate tenant SOH, or through supervisory and command channels. If reports that appear to involve imminent danger situation are submitted, the inspector should notify supervisor, platoon leader, sergeant, safety personnel, commander, or authorized representative. What happens once a report is submitted? All reports will be investigated by safety or health personnel. The originator, if known, will be notified in writing of the results of the investigation within 10 working days of receipt of the hazard. If the 10 workday suspense cannot be met, the originator should be provided an interim response. If a hazard is determined to exist, the reply will include a summary of actions to be taken and the anticipated date for corrective action. If a hazard is determined not to exist, the reply to the employee will include the basis for that determination. This reply will encourage informal contact with installation safety and health officials if additional explanations are desired. It will also inform the individual of their right to appeal as outlined. Every effort to include consulting with a regional federal OHR office and request for technical advice from the USA CHPPM or the USA CRC will be made to resolve the originator's questions or dissatisfaction. If a hazard report also involves grievance action, the local SOH manager will determine if there is a need for priority action for safety or health reasons. If the originator is not satisfied with the SOH official's response, the originator may appeal to the installation commander. The installation commander will review the findings and take appropriate action. If the originator is dissatisfied with the installation commander's response, the originator may appeal to the Army Headquarters SOH official. Such appeals will be transmitted through channels to the Army Headquarters, which will review the finding, investigate as necessary, and verify the appropriateness of the installation level response. Although personnel have the right to report hazards directly to the DOL, Department of Labor, they are encouraged to follow the review levels prescribed. Reports received directly by the DOL will be forwarded to DA for handling in accordance with these procedures. For further information or any questions pertaining to operational hazard reports and hazard reporting. Reference the material cited in this presentation or contact your local safety officer.